Hey everyone, I'm Polo back with some more League things. Today I figured I'd just do a quick little simple video for newer players like I did with my Mark video. And that's just kind of explaining Kindred's basic abilities so some people who don't play the champ or are new to the game or don't understand things about the kit can understand it. So I already did a video based on how Kindred marks work the other day, but just a little refresher in case you don't know. You can pretty much mark anybody with this bar here, and you'll also have a mark that spawns on the jungle camps that spawns in certain tiers. Each mark makes each of your basic abilities slightly stronger, like it gives your Q more attack speed, it gives your W more damage, and your E more damage, and also at certain thresholds it'll increase your range, those thresholds being 4, 7, 10, 13, 16, and so on. But yeah, so we're mainly going to talk about the basic abilities here. If you do enjoy this kind of little small Kindred guide type thing, please leave a like in the video to let me know you enjoy it. I'll still be working on a full guide hopefully soon, but it is what it is. So first we're going to talk about your Q, which your Q essentially just, it hits 3 targets and it also gives you attack speed for a certain amount of time. So if there's only one target here, only one arrow will get shot and it will only hit the target right there. However, if there's 3 dummies that are right here, or 3 champions, or 3 whatever, you can Q and it'll hit all 3 of them. It does the same damage to everybody, and then as you can see, you get attack speed up here on your buff bar. That's how that works, essentially. The best way to use this is either for gap closing or kiting backwards. You can also use it to jump over thin walls like this. You can also jump over walls like over here and things. Or when you're fighting a champion, you want to use it as an auto attack or reset because that's how it works. So you can auto Q auto and you'll immediately auto a second time as soon as your Q finishes, which is why you can see there's 2 stacks of PTA on it. There's also some other things that you can do with this too. For example, if I were to go and spawn the dragon, which you can use this very rarely, I would say. It's not something that's super strong and it's very niche, but you can use it while clearing the jungle or clearing the dragon. But for example, if you were to spawn the dragon and you'd put your back to a thick wall and then you were just like, say Q normally, you could see that you do the full Q animation. But if you put yourself to a really thick wall and you put your mouse in the right position, you can Q backwards and it will skip the entire Q animation. You just have to find a spot that does it. Like see right here, see I'm not doing the full Q animation and it's just firing the arrows immediately. This can help speed up take a dragon and things early on. It's very niche to use, but it's very useful. It's pretty much just how the animation reset works. And then obviously, again, the auto reset would just be auto Q auto and the auto off. Again, very niche thing, the animation cancel, but it's nice. Your W is a pretty basic ability. You put it down and it just puts the field in here. When you put the field down, as long as you're in the field, every time you Q, your Q will have reduced cooldown. This reduced cooldown is based on the level of your Q, not the level of your W. That's something a lot of people don't understand. So for example, if I Q right now, you see I have an 8-second cooldown. If I use my W, it goes down to a 2-second cooldown. If I Q, it always goes to a 2-second cooldown as long as I have a level 5 Q. If I have a level 1 Q, it's a 4-second. Every level you put into your Q after will take away 0.5 seconds from the ability. So it starts at 4 seconds and scales down to a 2-second inside of your W. Other things about your W that some people might not realize is your W does 50% more damage to monsters, and it also slows the monster's movement speed, which is why it makes it good for attacking it, because as you can see, the red buff walks very slow here, but once my W wears off, you can see red buff will pick its speed back up and be a little bit faster. Really good for kiting for that purpose, plus the 50% extra damage is what makes it really good for farming, and one of the reasons why you take it as your first ability, not your Q as your first ability. Other little minor detail about your W is you can use it to get vision if you don't have a ward, and it cannot be disabled by pink wards. So as you can see, I don't have any vision over here, but if I W over the wall, you can see I have vision of this whole area. Pink wards don't disable this, nothing disables this. You'll keep vision of this area as long as your W is active. That's pretty much just the basics of your Kindred W. Not really much else to it. And then the last ability is your E, your last basic ability, I should say. Now, with your E, a lot of people don't seem to understand how this ability works. It is your only form of CC on Kindred other than having red buff for the slow, but on top of that, it's also your execute. So you have to make a decision with this ability to whether you use it on high HP to slow the enemy if you think you'll be able to kill them without the extra damage, or use it when they're low because it does more damage based on when they're low. So yeah, it does 50% more damage when they're below a certain health threshold. Plus this like missing health damage also scales based on the amount of marks you have. That adds to the damage number. And the 50% extra damage scales with 15% of the enemy's HP plus 50% of your crit chance. So if the enemy is at 15% HP and you have no crit items, you'll do 50% more damage. If you have 100% crit, you do that 15% plus 50%, which puts it at 65. Yes, I know that's confusing because this ability is like trying to solve a freaking math equation, but it's one of the ways it works. Like you saw when I killed the Scuttle there, and I'll kill the Gromp here just to kind of show too. I'll use my E on it initially, and you see I'm not gonna crit it. There's no crit, there's no nothing there. However, if I were to go back and then go to my fountain, go here, and we could just, you know, buy a full crit build, you know, blah, blah, blah. And then we teleport back. If I come over here and I start attacking this, and then I hit this like this, it's going to crit for an extra 979 instead of my normal crit damage, because it crits once they're below that certain health threshold. And right here, when I have 100% crit, if it's below 65% HP, it's going to guarantee a crit, and it's going to guarantee the missing health, like 50% extra damage. So like I can just do this, and then boom, see 979 instead of the normal 600 damage that I'm getting for the crits. It's one of the things that a lot of people don't realize is your E is always better for damage if they're below a certain amount of health. And it does more, it just does more missing health damage in general, but this is increased by 50% if they're below the threshold. And the threshold is always 15% plus 50% of your crit. I know, confusing, very confusing ability. Your last little ability to talk about is very simple. Actually, before we talk about this, I'm just going to say for your E2, since this is a question I got asked last time I made a video like this, your E does not get a stack from your Q. It's only auto attacks. And the auto attacks also refresh the duration of the mark on the enemy. So you can see that little icon down there. That icon will get refreshed the duration every time I auto, but your Qs will not proc it. So if I were to do this and then I just hit it, it would die, obviously, because it was too low. But if I walk over to this and I just E it, and then I Q, you can see it doesn't put a stack on it. But if I auto, it does. Only auto attacks affect this. That's the only thing that does. Now, just another minor little thing that we'll talk about here is your ult. Your ult is a very simple ability to understand, but it's also confusing to some people. So when you put your ult down, nothing in your ult can die except for zombies, and zombies being things like Chemtech Soul affected champions, Scion passive, Cog passive, Karthus passive, and like Annie's Tibber after Annie's dead. None of those can stay alive. But when it's against a living thing, such as a champion, a minion, and stuff, it makes it so anything inside of your ult is completely invulnerable, and after the end of your ult, everything will heal in it. Everything being enemies and you all heal in it, but you also can't die. However, there's a stipulation to this as well. If you hit 10% HP inside the ult, you cannot take any more damage, you cannot get down to 1 HP like Tryndamere, but you also cannot be healed until the ult ends. So that means if you hit 10% HP and a Soraka tries to ult you while your ult's still going, you will not get healed a single bit. Same for the enemy team. If it hits 10% HP, it cannot be healed. So it's very good for like stalling objectives and things. Like example, if I get this low, you can see now it won't take any more damage, smite won't affect it, nothing will affect it, and then it heals. That's pretty much how that works. I hope this kind of just basic explaining how Kindred abilities helps you guys. I know it's not really a full in-depth thing, but it's just a basic little, you know, here's how it works, here's what it does. I'll show you one more time, you know. You come over here, ult on top of it, it can't take any more damage, it will sit at 10% HP, it's 176 out of, you know, 1760, and that's just how it will be, and that's how Kindred's ult works. Nothing can kill it, smite, nothing. The only exception to this would be the fountain, where if I were to go teleport over here, if I run in the fountain and try to ult, I'll still die in it. You can't survive fountain damage. But yeah. Hope you guys enjoyed this. If you did enjoy this little basic Kindred thing, let me know below, and I'll be back tomorrow with another just normal Kindred gameplay. Hope to see you guys then, and goodbye.